This is what happened to the U-boats after World War II. On May 8, 1945, Germany signed its unconditional surrender. Within hours, Admiral Karl Dönitz, Hitler's successor and former U-boat commander, issued a simple but historic order. All U-boats are to cease operations, surface, and surrender to the nearest Allied authority. The long war beneath the Atlantic was over. Across the North Atlantic, the Bay of Biscay and the fjords of Norway, more than 150 U-boats surfaced, their exhausted crews hoisting white flags as Allied aircraft circled overhead. They sailed toward ports such as Loch Erebol in Scotland, Lisahalli in Northern Ireland, and Portland in southern England, each arrival marking the quiet collapse of the Wolfpack fleet that once haunted Allied shipping lanes. At the year's end, harbours from Trondheim to Portsmouth were clogged with captured submarines. What came next, Operation Deadlight, would ensure that most of these machines never sailed again. By the autumn of 1945, the Allies had gathered more than 100 surrendered U-boats in British harbours. Keeping them afloat was costly, and storing them indefinitely was impossible. The Royal Navy therefore approved Operation Deadlight, a plan to tow the captured submarines out into the Atlantic and sink them. Between November 1945 and February 1946, this quiet operation would erase most of the Kriegsmarine's undersea fleet from existence. The logistics were daunting. In total, 156 U-boats had surrendered to the Allies, with 116 designated for destruction under Deadlight. The Royal Navy divided the operation into 3 dumping areas, XX, YY and ZZ, roughly 100 to 120 nautical miles northwest of Ireland. The first phase began in November 1945, when Royal Navy tugs started towing groups of submarines from Scottish and Irish ports. But many of the U-boats were in dreadful condition. Some had been at sea for months without maintenance. Others were battered by Allied bombing or deliberate sabotage. Their ballast tanks leaked, their engines seized, and their hulls were weakened by rust. In stormy winter seas, towing these unstable wrecks was a hazardous task. As a result, more than a third of the U-boats never made it to the scuttling zones. 56 vessels foundered or sank on the way, dragged down by rough weather or structural failure. The Royal Navy recorded each loss but made little effort to recover them. Deadlight's purpose was destruction, not preservation. Once in position, destroyers and frigates finished the job. Crews sometimes used aerial rockets or naval gunfire to ensure the boats went under quickly. Findings revealed how hastily the scuttlings had been carried out. Many boats sank upright, their decks still armed, their steel now encrusted with coral and history. Operation Deadlight had served its purpose, to erase the physical presence of Hitler's U-boat fleet. Yet its aftermath left an unintended legacy, a vast underwater graveyard, stretching across the North Atlantic, silent testimony to the end of Germany's submarine war.